Hello everyone, welcome to this special edition of Sprint brought to you from Nile TV International. My name is Sharif Touni, and tonight we'll be having a very interesting edition. We'll be having a roundup and a look at all of the profiles of the top tennis players across the globe, and definitely we'll be looking at Novak Djokovic being #1, Andy Murray, Roger Federer, Rafael Nadal, and also from the ladies' side we'll be having a look at the profiles and the journey of Serena Williams and more. Now we'll be moving to a short break and returning back with more, so stay with us. Welcome back. You're still watching Sprint, and I'd love to introduce my guest for tonight. I'm joined with Islam Senhouri, sports commentator and expert, and specifically a tennis expert and also a player. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Chief. It's my pleasure always to be with you.
I'm really glad to have you. We're going to be speaking about the top profiles of the tennis players and the top ones. And now we're going to be starting with this magnificent player. He's becoming a legend. He's setting records all across the globe. And it's Novak Djokovic, the Serbian #1, who had more than 8 coaches and ended up now with Boris Becker, who is also a legendary player. How are you seeing Novak Djokovic so far, the 29 years old player?
Novak Djokovic is a unique player. He's one of a kind because actually he had one major coach, Marion Vaida, and then he joined with other coaches regarding specific technical aspects of the game for a short period, just to know about these technical aspects. And then now for this, maybe 2 years ago, he's now joined with Boom Boom, Boris Becker, yes, the legend, the youngest ever to win Wimbledon. That was, I think,
1985, when he was 17 years and 282 days, less than 18.
Yes. He was born in the 12th of November, 1967. I mean, this is Boris Becker. This year is very special for Novak Djokovic because the French Open Roland Garros started the same day of his birthday.
Yes.
Normally, we are celebrating the birthday of Rafael Nadal, who was born in the 3rd of June. Nadal is almost 1 year older than Nole. Nadal was born in 86 and Nole was born in 87. Mm-hmm. So he turned 29 exactly Sunday, the 22nd, and they celebrated with him. He didn't play, but they celebrated his birthday, and it was a big tart and a good celebration in the French Open. I think this is the earliest ever French Open I can remember, because the French Open normally it starts after that, but we have several things this year special. We have now, since last year, 2015, the difference between, or the weeks between Roland Garros and Wimbledon became 3 weeks. Second, we have the Olympic Games in Rio, so they have to finish everything earlier. That's why the French Open started in the 22nd, and the final, men's final, will be on Sunday, the 5th of June. Novak Djokovic, he's very generous to the work he's doing. He hired top tennis players, each one in his own field. Like, he started with Mark Woodford, one of the Woodies, one of the best doubles players ever, he and Todd Woodbridge, and he used Mark Woodford just enhance his volley game. He's a baseliner, but he wanted to develop a good, reasonable volley, and he used Mark Watford. Then afterwards, he used Todd Martin, the American tall guy, and to know how to serve good. But his coach since 2005, he was almost 17 years old, is Marion Weide, and he didn't split with Marion Weide. When Boris Becker joined the team, sometimes we didn't see Marion Weide, sometimes we didn't see Becker.
Marion Weide's strategy to involve those coaches in specific technical issues like you mentioned?
I'm not sure, but I think it is Noli himself, not Marion Weide.
Okay.
Yani Noli, he has this mentality, and I mean, he'll become definitely after the French Open, after Roland Garros, he'll be the first ever tennis player to exceed $100 million as a prize money. Even Roger Federer.
And even though now he's close to 100 and it's an all-time high. The number.
Yeah, he is number one. Yeah, he has the record. Yeah, more than Roger, and Roger is older than him with 6 years.
So Roger is around 96, I guess. He's also close.
Yes, he's 96. Yeah. But I don't know what about his injury. I think he has to continue till he exceeds this 100 million. But he wants.
The first one is Noli. Definitely Noli will be the first one.
And he could have achieved that if he could have won Rome. It was a surprise that to lose after 4 straight wins on clay against his opponent, Andy Murray. Murray passed him in 2 straight sets, 6-3, 6-3 in the final of Rome. And this is a huge title for a British player. And he advanced to Open strongly, confidently. He has a title on clay, one of the big tournaments, one of the 1000 or the Master Series. I'm talking about Andy Murray, but he suffered a lot in the first 2 matches.
Yes. If you go back to Novak and 64 career titles, this is a magnificent number.
Yes, it is, because he is distinguished in 1,000 events, which is the Master Series. He is now, he has the record of 29 titles. And the second one is Rafael Nadal, 28. Nadal tied with him when he won, I think Nadal won Monte Carlo, and then Andy Murray won Madrid. So, and Roger is a little bit away from them. Pete Sampras, Agassi, all are away from this record. And he is still young, fit, stable in his life. He got married to his beloved wife, and he got his first kid, Stefan, in October 2014. And his wife is pregnant now for his second child. And he's living a very family life, which I think is
part of the success.
Part of the success, because they give him strength, they give him good mentality, they give him peace, and they are there to support him. And in all sports, and especially tennis, mental toughness is the most difficult thing to teach or to learn or to coach your player. It has to be by birth, and then you can enhance it. But some of them, they are really very tough. One of them definitely is Novak Djokovic. Another one is Rafael Nadal. Definitely any top player should be mentally very tough. But Nadal and Novak Djokovic, they are distinguished in this toughness.
Yes, and you taught us usually about the mental fitness comes from a stable life, especially players' journey.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
So would this be one of the things or one of the elements for Novak Djokovic?
Yeah, you cannot play, because, you know, part of the game is concentration. We call it the 4 C's in English. And we control, confidence, and concentration. They are the elements of success. So in order to concentrate, you cannot concentrate and you are thinking about something wrong with your life. I mean,
issues. Yes.
Yeah, like the Williams sisters, sorry to go for the Williams sisters, but in 2003 they were in the top of the world, and then the sister was murdered, and it was murdered by mistake. they lived a very bad life at that time, and their level dropped.
Results,
yeah,
yes.
And father and mother split. Oracine and Richard Williams, they split, and then Richard got married to another one. Oracine didn't. She came Oracine Price instead of Williams, her family name. But this affected them very much, and they dropped, and then they recovered from that and became good again. And Richard Williams definitely has a vision when he said that first Venus will be good, but Serena is better.
The father said so. Yeah.
Let's
go back to Novak Djokovic. Sorry, we are going from one
to other. Yeah.
I want to speak a little bit about Novak Djokovic's style, because I think he laid down and he formulated a style that he's one of a kind for Novak Djokovic. We saw a lot of players that are close to each other, but maybe we live in the era where Roger Federer has his own style that is not really replicated. And Novak Djokovic is the same. He is having a style of, this mental capabilities, the fitness level is really at the highest stages, and the strength. This mix is making the success quite obvious and easy for the top #1 player, Novak Djokovic.
Yes, definitely Novak Djokovic. He is depending on his physical abilities, not only physical fitness. He is very elastic. He is doing so good stretches. And we can see him, maybe he's doing a grand card to catch the ball away from him, and then in no time he is back again to run in the court. This doesn't come from 1 day or 2 days or weeks or several years. And when he started showing up in the business, and that was in 2005 when we pointed him that this young player is going to be a great player, and definitely he has the chance to be #1 one a day. And we were correct with what we said about Nole. He has another 2 brothers. Nobody of them made the same success he did, because, it all goes with physical fitness and mental toughness in particular. He is living a very healthy life. He's not eating any cooked sugar, which is very healthy. I mean, away from tennis, away from what he's doing, I read so many articles and I met some people that they stopped eating sugar completely, cooked sugar. They are taking it from natural resources. You can get this sugar from sugar cane.
So you can eat it. Or fruits.
All fruits and vegetables, and definitely one of the main sources of the sugar, the good sugar you need in your body, is dates. And I tried to apply that to a certain extent, and I found it very healthy. And
avoiding sugar at all.
Completely. That means you are not eating cake, you are not drinking tea with sugar, you are not zero sugar, zero. Yes. But you can eat mango as much as you want, strawberry, you can eat
And in the
dates.
holy month of Ramadan, this is exactly the opposite of what we do now within our country.
But try
it's
not
all about sugar.
Sugar, there is some theories which I do believe is more poisoning than anything else.
Yes.
Even drugs.
Yes.
They are saying you're stopping people from having drugs, stop them from having not only diabetes, the cancer.
Exactly, cancer.
The cancer goes rapidly with sugar, and the sugar is the media where cancer can grow. Without sugar, cancer can be eliminated, and maybe those people who are suffering from this disease, all of our spectators and everybody not to have this.
I totally agree with you, because this has been part of a lot of professionals who spoke about, the danger of consuming a lot of sugar.
I met one of very intellectual lawyers. It was in Sudan. Her name is Maisa Mahmoud, and that was last February. And she told me, and I was with one of my friends, he is the president of the Sudan Tennis Federation, Khalid Talat Farid, and she told us that this sugar is very bad. And she knows someone, she had cancer, and she stopped eating sugar, and she recovered completely. And then she started again sugar. the symptoms came back. So, I mean, you don't have to eat sugar, and you can replace it with so many good elements, natural elements. I can say, yeah, you can live with that.
Yes, well, that's a good advice.
It's another story.
Yeah, but
this is
like
what
this is what he's doing.
What Nole is doing, and he's training very hard. And I feel sometimes that he doesn't want to go to his peak. Yani, whenever he's putting his mind to go to the top level, he's doing it, but not always. He sometimes, because he's human, you know, you cannot do that all the time. And it's very strange that Andy Murray, after winning Rome and beating Djokovic for the first time on clay, he lost 4 times on clay from Nole.
Yes.
And that was his first time, and he beat him in 2. We said, okay, he's going to the French Open as one of the major candidates to win it. He started the first match against the veteran, 37 years old Czech Radek Stepanek, yes. And he was 2 sets to love down. And then he came back, winning the 3rd set 6-love, and he had the lead with 3 games to love. And then it was 4-2 when dark came and they stopped. It was very difficult for him to win the 2nd day because Radek Stepanek came fresh. And it's rather difficult to beat a fresh player who beat you 2 straight sets. And even in Rome, he passed through Radek Stepanek in 3 sets. He beat Nole in the final in 2 straight sets, but Radek Stepanek took 1 set from him. Yes. So that's the 2nd round. He met with a wild card French player. I didn't know anything about him. He's 160 in the world. His name is Matthias Burg, not Bjorn Burg, Burg in French, B-O-U-R-G-E, and Matthias. And he surprised all the fans and spectators that he played maybe his best match ever. Still, he has to play in other matches, but he was surprising everybody that he's overpowering and he's controlling the match. He had the lead 2 sets to 1. The first set went to Andy, and then he got the 2nd and the 3rd one. And then Andy could gather himself again and made it through the 4th and 5th set. Yes. So 5 setters in the 1st round, 2nd round. Maybe it's a good fortune for him. I mean, good indication that he can make it.
Well, we'll be coming back and discussing more about Andy Murray, but let's now move to this short break and returning back with more, so stay with us.
Andy Murray enjoyed the perfect 29th birthday present on Sunday, puncturing Novak Djokovic's air of dominance by beating the out-of-sorts Serb in straight sets in the final of the Italian Open in Rome. Just a week after Djokovic had beaten him in the final of the Madrid Open, the Scot gained his revenge over the world number 1 in another clay court final. Superb 6-3, 6-3 win in 1 hour and 35 minutes. Djokovic was not at his best and in a grumpy mood, complaining on several occasions to the umpire about the slippery court surface on a damp day at the Foro Italico. Yet the defeat, just his 3rd of the entire season, could not be totally put down to the hints of wariness from Djokovic after a tough week's work, as he told Murray afterwards, "Well done, Andy, you were just too good." It was an emphatic triumph. finishing runner-up in Madrid and making the semi-finals in Monte Carlo to convince Murray that he now must have his best shot yet at winning the French Open, which begins next weekend. In the week that Murray announced an amicable split from coach Amelie Mauresmo, this was only the second time in the last 14 meetings that he had beaten Djokovic, and it was his first victory in the 6 duels on clay. The light rain in the Italian capital really seemed to dampen Djokovic's spirit, as he complained to the umpire that it was too dangerous to continue, but his appeals was brushed aside by the official Damian Steiner. Murray was aggressive from the start, taking command in the light whistle, and even when Djokovic appeared to be fighting back in the second set, Murray saved break points in successive games to begin imposing himself again. At the end, Djokovic capitulated with surprising swiftness, hitting a couple of errant forehands and the double fault at 3-5 down before Murray conjured one inspirational backhand winner from way beyond the frame lines to lift the title. No British man had won the Italian title since Patrick Hughes in 1931, and the triumph will put Murray into the world #2 spot on Monday, ahead of Roger Federer before the second of the season slams starts in Paris.
Welcome back. You're still watching Sprint, and moving on now to another player, and definitely the former #1 Swiss player, Roger Federer, another legendary player. He has a great track, and everybody enjoys this type of tennis. He has this style, this amazing and magnificent style everybody loves.
Yeah, Roger Federer, he's still, till now, he is the best player ever, because he won 17 Grand Slams, and he won the 4 Grand Slams. Nole is still lacking the French Open, and he's becoming older and older. Last year, he went to the final 3 times, and he lost. Last year, he lost from Stan Wawrinka. And he stands a good chance, though he's going to play with Rafa in the semifinals. He beat Rafa in Rome. Roger is suffering from a back injury, and this back injury stopped him from several tournaments, and in the end, a streak of 65 Grand Slams in a row. He couldn't play the French Open, that's a record. And I think this record is rather difficult that anybody else can beat this record. Unless, to be honest, the only one has it, no way for Nole or for Rafa or anybody else, because they, in their way, they didn't play some Grand Slams. They stopped. So they cannot be, you need, for this streak, since you started in your teenage, you have to continue till you're becoming such old like this one. The only one that he has a chance, and still...
So how many years is 65?
Divided by 4, it is 16 years and a quarter.
Yes. This is
the total
career.
Grand Slams he played is 67, but the streak is 65.
Mm-hmm. And when you mean a streak, is this like a winning streak?
No, I mean
it's
just
like
participating.
Continuously participating.
You didn't miss a single one for the 14 years.
Yes.
Or for the whole 65
Tennis
in a row.
It's all about statistics and records.
Yeah.
And this part of definitely an unprecedented record. So what you're saying is that no player would really have this opportunity to replicate this.
There is only one player who has a chance to do that. He's not one of the top players. He didn't win ever a Grand Slam. He is the Spanish Feliciano Lopez, yes. Feliciano Lopez, he has 57. So he is 8. I mean, if he can continue for 3 years, he can. But he needs to be, no, at least not injured.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe you can go and lose first round, it is a streak. You are first, you have to be qualified, and then to participate. And Roger can keep this streak and
so Roger
going and playing and losing first round.
Or did he break it?
What?
Roger, did he break the streak, or he's still maintaining it?
No, it's now finished. It is now stopped in 65, because he didn't play the French Open. You can see some good pictures regarding the Wimbledon, yeah. And Roger played 65 Grand Slams in a row. And now he stopped, so he has to start from scratch, and he definitely doesn't have time.
Cannot. He doesn't have another 16
He's going
years
to turn 35 on the 8th of
August, next 8th of August. He can play from this year, he can play veteran stance. But he's still playing like others. I mean, Radek Stepanek is performing well, and he's still playing. And Tommy Haas, the German player, he played over 35. And the eldest one to reach the semi-finals when he was 39 years old was Jimmy Connors. And that
39.
was in 91.
So it is normal to have a player older than 30 years and entering Grand Slams and competing until this age?
No, it's not normal, but some good players, they can do it. And definitely the style of the game itself gives them this chance.
You still see him in the finals of several Grand Slams. He could be in the semi-finals or the finals.
Yes.
So this is amazing, but he's always stopped by Novak Djokovic.
Yeah, he was stopped by Nadal several times, so many times, and now it's all going for Novak Djokovic. And Novak achieved 11 Grand Slams. He is doing his best to win the French Open this year, because definitely, if we want to say that he is one of the, he has to win the French Open. He went to the final several times. He's not Pete Sampras. Sampras was losing first, second round. Best result for Sampras in the French Open was reaching the semi-finals in 1996.
Yes.
And I remember this match, if you want to talk about it, because he played with Yevgeny Kafelnikov, the Russian player. And on clay, few months earlier, in December 95, the final of Davis Cup was between Russia and US. And the host is Russia in Moscow. And they built indoor clay court because they know that their players are playing better with the surface of the clay court surface better than other court, hard court, or anything else. And Pete Sampras definitely participated, and he was the reason that the US won Davis Cup in this year. He beat Chesenkov in the first day, and he was dragged from the court with collapse. It was 5 setters long, and he was in the calf. He was crumpled, and he was dragged. We thought that he's not going to play. He played the second day with Todd Martin, the doubles, and he won. And the deciding was his match against Yevgeny Kafelnikov. And he beat Yevgeny Kafelnikov 3 straight sets on clay in Moscow. So when he went to the semis in the French Open, okay, a few months later, he has the confidence, and he's Pete Sampras, and he needs to go to the final, and maybe he can do something. But he lost in straight sets, and Yevgeny Kafelnikov was the winner of this year French Open. Yeah.
Why do you think this guy has been, 3 years back, a lot of observers were seeing that Roger Federer is ending his career. And it's not possible for him to maintain the same style and form. And that was, the words of a lot of analysts. Yet, in the last 3 years, he proved to be, the man of the game. He continuously, he had a couple of titles, and good ones too. And he also managed to have a very good representation in the Grand Slams, in semifinals, and even in finals.
Finals, yeah.
So how could this happen, and what do you think about this?
You cannot keep the top level always. You have to come up, drop and come up. And we call it a sine curve. You remember, you are an engineer, you know the sine curve, it's going and coming down. So you have the summit and you have the bottom.
the difference between the top and the bottom, in normal players, it's like that. The difference is big. For top players, the difference is shorter, less. So between his best performance and his least performance, the difference is not that much. That's the way in order to keep on, to pertain or to continue winning one tournament after the other. So Roger Federer, one of his worst years was 2013. And at that time...
This is where everybody thought that it's the end.
Yeah, I didn't expect that much. I wasn't agree with the others. Because he did something which I think helped him to continue. That Sampras, because he's the previous legend before, I mean, the 90s, it was Sampras. The first 10 years of this century, the 21st century, was Roger Federer. And maybe the second, it is a little bit split between Nadal and Novak, but still Novak, I think he has the chance to make better performance than even Nadal, but we hope Nadal can do something. So Roger Federer did something very important. He changed the racket. He got another racket which is lighter, make it easier to hold it, and with a bigger frame. Normally the players are playing with a smaller frame, but this bigger frame, it gives you more power, but less control. The bigger the frame, it gives you more power, but less control. The smaller the frame, it gives you more control, but less power. But in a younger age, you can generate the power by your body, by your style, by everything. In an older stage, you need the power to come from the instrument you are using, which is the racket.
That's a great
strategy. In order to get used to the racket, the new racket you are doing, it's really difficult.
Of course.
It is really difficult. It's
like,
not easy at all.
Starting all over again.
Can do, we are saying always, here is Paul Anacon, I think this picture, Paul Anacon was the one to advise him to do that, and he was the coach of Roger Federer, achieving 9 Grand Slams out of his 14 Grand Slam. Paul Anacon was his coach. For Roger Federer, he changed the racket, and he played with this racket, and what we expected from him, that maybe he is a little bit collapsed, but then he'll come back and come back very strong. 2014, he became back again strong, and he performed very well and won several events and keep on till 2015. And he lost definitely dramatically. He lost the final of Wimbledon 14 and 15 to Nolly, especially 14 when Nolly was injured and it was final set and he had a chance to win a real 8th title in Wimbledon. I don't know, maybe say so because he's a legend, but he's sympathized with Nole, and Nole after 4-all, he forgot about the injury, he forgot about everything, and he broke Federer and won the game.
Yes.
So many good memories regarding those players, and all of them, they are really good. I still think that Nole can make more than what Roger did. I mean, 17 Grand Slams, because his regime, and he is naturally sportsman.
Yes.
And mentally, he's outstanding.
Right, so we're going to head now to a short break, and we're returning back with another tennis player and another legend also, Rafael Nadal. Let's have a look at this. Turning back with more. Welcome back. You're still watching Sprint. And moving now to Rafael Nadal. This Spaniard has a great story, and he has a great history. And we're still not knowing if he has still a future or not, because this player had several comebacks. Now there is a talk around a new comeback for Rafael Nadal. He had this power. This player, when he was on top of his form, everybody expected that this player is going to be the top of the world for several years, and he's going to be, you know, like matching Serena Williams. What Serena Williams is doing is like continuously winning. But he had a downfall. He had a drop, a significant one. He had injuries. He had bad recovery and bad comebacks. So what do you think of his state today?
He's going to turn 30 on the 3rd of June. So 30 years old, he cannot perform the performance he did before. He is, and Bjorn Borg, the most players to win titles as a teenager before making 20 years old. Bjorn Borg as well, one of a kind, and Rafael Nadal, both of them, they have super physical fitness, super consistency, and definitely mental toughness as well. So Rafael Nadal, by winning Monte Carlo this year, one of the 1000 series to make it 9, he's the only one that he won 3 nines. He won 9 1000 series, which is Monte Carlo, Monaco, and he won 9 titles in one of the 500, which is Barcelona. Nobody else did this achievement. 3 nines in 3 different tournaments and 3 different levels. The best level, which you can get 2,000 points if you are the winner, and 1,000 it's Monte Carlo, and 500, which is Barcelona. He achieved both of them, Monaco or Monte Carlo and Barcelona this year. He flunked in Rome. He lost against Djokovic, but he was very convincing the first match he played in Roland Garros, and he looks very eager and very hungry to make the 10th title in the French Open, and this can never be done. If he is going to reach the final, he has a big chance, because the semi-final match will be with the world #1, which is Novak Djokovic. Let us see. I don't know what will be the result.
His coach, Tony Nadal, if you can speak to us a little bit about his coach.
He's his uncle. He's the one who introduced him to tennis. He's the one who decided to let him play with his left hand, though he is a right-hander. Nadal is not a left-hander. But his uncle and his coach...
That's something that I personally first time to know.
Yeah, he's always signing with his right hand. He's playing with his left hand, but he's always doing everything with his right hand. He's not a left-hander. He's playing tennis with his left hand. You know, anything you are going to practice, and you can... perseverance in practice and everything, you can develop it. You know, where there is a will, there is a way. And then the vision of his uncle... That's why I'm saying that Nadal... the problem with his backhand.
Who's Tony Nadal? Is he a tennis player, or what is the background?
You know, he is from a sports, and all the family is playing sports, and his uncle was playing in Barcelona, and he was a national team player in the Spanish team, football, soccer. And Tony was playing tennis. He's not a top player, but he was playing tennis. They are not from Barcelona, they are from Mallorca. Mallorca, the capital of Mallorca is Barcelona. Yes. He is from another town called Mancur, and he loved tennis very much, and he was practicing tennis very much. And I have a funny story regarding Emilio Sanchez, the brother of Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, who went to be #1 in both single and doubles, but Emilio was number 20 in the world, and they are from Barcelona. So they came to him while he's number 20 in the world, and they told him exactly that was in '98. In '98, they told him, we have a young player who is 12 years old, and he's very much promising, and it will be very nice of you if you can, or if you, as the world number 20, and you're from the same country, Spain, and from the same Mallorca,
if you accept to play with him some games or such thing like that. He accepted, and then this 12 years old boy came and played with Emilio Sanchez, number 20 in the world. And then after playing with him some games, he said, I didn't see a crazy boy like this boy. This boy was celebrating each single point, winning from me, as if he won a Grand Slam. And something else, when we are making the change over, he was very serious to the extent he is not even looking to my eyes. You know, that's Rafael Nadal in 12 years old, what he was doing. And definitely he is very much talented, but the way he is playing, it needs huge effort. You know the RPM, round per minute, which is, we are calling the velocity, which is the change of how much time you need from 0 to the maximum speed.
Yes.
Normally for top players, it is around 2,400 RPM, 2,400. Nadal is doing 4,000. And most of the shots are like that. So he needs not only aerobic game, he needs anaerobic game. The anaerobic game is to exaggerate very much power in very few seconds. You know, in all the athletics, what is the man killer? In all athletics.
Maybe overconfidence.
No, I mean, what race or what is the sport or the race or whatever, they call it the man killer.
Is it running?
Yes, it is running, but you have 100 meters, you have 200 meters, you have 400 meters.
The 100 meters, definitely.
The 400.
The 400.
The 400, they call it the man killer. The 400, which is, I think the record is 40-something. It is, you know, because the start is different. I mean, when it is relay, you are running with your colleague and catching the, you have the space. So you are, the start itself, you take some time with it.
True.
But maybe if you are doing it and in the run, you can make the 100 meters less time, because the start is always very important. And this reminds me of something else, if you allow me to talk about it. All of us, we know Arne Shatta, this fantastic player, and he's Sudanese, but Egypt and Sudan, I consider them one country. No way.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and they are one country, and we don't want to talk about anything. They are one nation, one people, everything. Arne Shatta, when he came, he was playing in El Morada, one of the, not the top teams in Sudan. And he came, and those experts of El Ahli, no, we don't want him. Who was the coach at that time? Hiji Kuti, one of the legend players and coaches. And he changed the Egyptian mentality for football, for soccer. Because, you know, the Egyptian mentality, the top players, we are calling those are al-Ma'allimin. They go to the court and they never go out. And sometimes, maybe in the 60s, you don't have the chance to change anybody. You have to play with the 11 players the whole 90 minutes and the extra time. But Hiji Kuti was changing. You have to change. He has to change them. And he is using it. That's ipso fact. No players, no team is going to play the whole match. And when Hiji Kuti went and see Arne Shatta, no, I need him. I need him very much. Because he has the expert eye, which the others, they didn't have. Why Arne Shatta in particular? Because he is the fastest take-off player. He is the fastest. He can move from standstill to move. And that's helped him to stop any good player. Because you are faster than him and you can stop him, though he is very talented or anything. That's why Arne Shatta played to stop top players or the very talented players from controlling the match. And as well, he is a good player. I mean, expertise, they don't know about some things which is very important. That's what I'm saying to you, that the first step, and definitely in the short distances like tennis, you know, the court, it's 12 meters. And the width is 8 meters, 23 centimeters. It's not that much, but you need to be very fast. Definitely Nadal is very fast. Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic.
Right, Islam, if we'll take a very short break now. We're returning back with a profile on and a look on Serena Williams. Let's move now to this break and we're returning back.
Serena Williams ended a 9-month title drought with a 7-6, 6-3 win over Madison Keys in an All-American Italian Open final Sunday. Williams' previous title came in Cincinnati in August, a month before her attempt at the calendar year Grand Slam ended with a semi-final loss to Roberta Vinci at the American Open. It is Williams' 4th title in Rome, and it comes exactly a week before the French Open begins. It was the first time two American women have met in a final on clay since Serena beat older sister Venus in the 2002 French Open. The last All-American final in Rome was in 1970 when Billie Jean King beat Julie Heldman. Rome record book, Serena drew level with Conchita Martinez and Gabriela Sabatini, who also took 4 titles at the Foro Italico. Chris Evert holds the women's record with 5 titles, while Rafa Nadal holds the overall mark with 7. It was the 70th title overall in Serena's career. The 21-year-old Keys was playing in the biggest final of her career. She posted personal best results at all the 4 majors last year, including reaching the Australian Open semi-finals and the Wimbledon quarter-finals. The 24th ranked Keys broke Serena at love in the Open match and hit 6 aces in her opening 2 service games to take a 3-1 lead. As Serena became more aggressive, however, Keys hit 2 double faults to hand the break back, making it 3-3. In the tie-break, Serena took control with a wicked cross-court forehand that Keys could not get back, then closed it out on the first set point with a big serve out wide that Keys returned long.
Welcome back. You're still watching Sprint. Moving on now to Serena Williams, and this legend, also another legend of tennis. She's done a lot, and you know, I think she was part of stopping a lot of other tennis players from, you know, making success, because she was there in their era. So.
You know, I have a funny story also regarding that. I was in 1998, I went to the Grand Slam Cup in Munich. That was in October. And in the Grand Slam Cup in October, I was invited by the organizers, and I was sitting in a box where Oracine and Serena were there. Venus was playing the final against Patti Schneider. At that time, the top player was Martina Hingis, but the final, and it was the first year of participation of women. The participation was only for men then when they started in 1990 till 1997. And in 1998, it was the first year to join Grand Slam Cup for women and men. And in 1999, it was the second year and last year for the Grand Slam Cup, because the Grand Slam Cup joined with the World Champion together with the ATP and the ITF and the Grand Slam Committee, and they made it the Master Series, the Master at the end of the year. And they started in Lisbon, and the second year they went to Sydney and then to Houston and so on. Anyhow, I was there, and I think she was not qualified even to play it, and Venus beat Patti Schneider, and there was an interview with her. What do you think, and she said, I want next year my sister to play here. She doesn't know that her sister will exceed her. And that's what her father, Richard Williams, expected. He said, Venus will be the first player to appear. And she's good achievements, but eventually Serena is going to be better with her achievements. And I remember in the same year, in 1998, in the Open, she was playing against Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. That was, I think, in the third or the fourth round. And Arantxa beat her, but she was insulting, not only Arantxa, everything. She doesn't accept to lose. This is not good sportsmanship, yes. But that's her mentality. And I remember also in 2009, and we were there when she was playing against Jennifer Capriati. It was also semi-final, I think so. Not Jennifer, Kim Clijsters. It was Kim Clijsters. She was playing against Kim Clijsters, and then the line judge, she's American but from the Far East, very small lady like that. She made a call which Serena didn't like. She went to her. I cannot say what she said. Yes. She insulted her and frightened her. And, you know, she lost the match because she had a warning and point against, and they called the referee, and she was defaulted from this match. But when she became older and older...
Unfortunately, the time is over, and time usually flies with you. I'd like to thank you very much for joining us and for all of the insights tonight. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I was Islam Sarhouri, tennis commentator and expert. I'd like also to thank you very much for joining us tonight, and see you next week, and goodbye.